here with Heal to Change. I am live and I am talking about exhaustion and anxiety. How horrible. Um, I have come across this anxiety and exhaustion after I had a child. And so this is like, I talked about this for parents yesterday. People that have exhaustion and anxiety, um, again, I never experienced it till after I had a child, and I didn't experience it until he hit 2 years old. So I kind of think that a lot of it has to do with post-menopause. No, I'm sorry, post-menopause. Um, when you have a baby, postpartum. There we go. Here, it's coming to me. Postpartum, a lot of people have this feeling, this depression after they have a baby. Well, I didn't have that. I was too high off life, but I had this depression and anxiety and overwhelm when he hit 2 years old. And so this is what we're talking about today. What I realized is a lot of us have this, and it's connected with postpartum also, with moms that have postpartum. It is the feeling and overwhelm that a woman gets from oh my God, I have this baby, what am I going to do with it? It's a subconscious feeling that there's a part of you that feels like you're incapable, you can't do it. You're excited about this baby. You are so excited as the adult you are. But what kicks in is that subconscious, like, am I going to be like my parents? Your parents were horrible. So you feel that you might be like your parents. And it's a subconscious feeling that's like, oh my God. So I wasn't going to talk about postpartum, but I'm talking about the people that have this depression, overexhausted, and anxiety after you have kids. Now, I work on women that are in their 60s and they still have the guilt. So what I'm talking about is the anxiety, exhaustion, and your kids are grown up and you still have the guilt. So that guilt, when you don't release the guilt and you're holding on to guilt, it comes off as exhaustion, anxiety, chronic fatigue, different symptoms in people. And by the time the clients come to me, the exhaustion is so bad because they felt that it was an illness or a problem instead of realizing that it's an issue within the subconscious. So the subconscious is, I'm a bad parent, I'm not doing anything right, what if I fail, what if I succeed and my child doesn't benefit from it, what if my child leaves me, what if he gets hurt, what if they die? All these things are going in our minds subconsciously, and you don't understand it because you don't know. We don't know. So we're absorbing all those emotions. That's why meditation and exercise is so important. I did exercise every single day. Did not save me from how I was feeling about having this child. Good morning. How are you today? I'm doing fantastic. So today's topic is about parents, anxiety and exhaustion, overwhelm. And what is going on? You are not old. We people are not old. We are storing our emotions. Our body is overloaded with emotions of, am I a good parent? Am I a good spouse? We're really talking about parents today, but it all kind of ties in. Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I making enough money? So single parents, if you are struggling with overwhelm and exhaustion, you were thinking, you have this feeling like I couldn't keep my marriage together. Maybe they died, mine died. So it's like you feel guilty that you can't be both parents, even though you are both parents. So what I'm sharing with you is letting go of those emotions that keep you from living life. Those are things in our head that I'm not good enough to raise my child. Who do I think I am? So I shared this story with my mom. So yesterday I talked about feeling guilty, not being able to support my child the way I want to. Even though I gave him everything, I was holding on to guilt because his dad's not here with us. And I felt such like subconsciously, I'm thinking like, I'm a bad parent. Why is his dad not here? Like, my poor son doesn't have a dad to teach him all the boy stuff, like racing cars, putting bikes together, which he's putting bikes together. Thank God for Google, right? You Google how to put a bicycle together. I just bought him a bicycle, an e-bike, his third one. He even got a job. He's 12, but he still got a job. And he sells things and he does odd jobs and he's doing fine without a dad. But still, there's a subconscious part of us that's you're feeling guilty. So what I've been letting go of was guilt. Now my son's 12, so if this resonates with you, let me know. So as single parents, we feel like now I'm still holding on to guilt from when he was a child, like a baby. Like, oh my God, he doesn't have a dad to help him out with boy stuff. And this works with little girls too, because daddy's little girl. And subconsciously, I'm thinking, I don't have a dad for this child. Am I giving him everything that I want and desire? Am I giving him the life that he loves? And part of me is like, he wants a house. We had a house. And he's willing to move so I can afford to buy a house out of state. He's like, Mom, if it's a house, yeah, let's go. But there's part of me that doesn't want to go. So subconsciously, I'm like, what do I do? I'm a crazy woman, right? And we lose it. We lose our temper. So after I did went live yesterday, I went and let go of a lot of guilt, feeling like I'm not giving my child the life that I want to give them. I want them to have a better life than I had, but I'm a stay-at-home mom. I work out of my home. So technically he's got a good life, but we still want more. We want more for our child, right? So when I shared this story with my mom, so I shared, Mom, what was coming up was guilt of I'm a bad parent. I'm not giving my child the life he loves, even though I just bought him an e-bike, but there's still a part of me that feels guilty, and you go out of your way and you do the stuff you want for your children because you feel guilty. Now, there's a lot of things I probably shouldn't have done. He's a little spoiled. He is an only child. And I do make him do things that he doesn't want to do, like play pickleball. He has to play guitar. And I don't feel guilty about that. You have to be diversified and have him do different things. But I will not get him hooked on the electronics. He does have his own cell phone, but still, pickleball, exercise, do your push-ups. I want him outdoors. I'm an outdoor person. I can turn off my electronics and be a person and get in touch with nature because I'm a nature person. My son would rather stay in the house. I don't know what happened there. He's taking after my mom. My mom likes to be in the shade. Anyways, when we feel guilty, it comes off. And it could be guilty, blame, judgment, not feeling like a good parent. We can hold on to it. So I'm going to share a story with a client of mine who struggled with a lot of anxiety, and a lot of that anxiety she was carrying from her own mom, who was an alcoholic. Now, she shared her story when she was a little girl. Her mom was an alcoholic. Her mom, like when she got to a certain age, she had to drive her mom around that was passed out in the car. And she struggled with anxiety, not knowing at the time that the anxiety was actually her mom's, but we are empaths and absorb the energy. To move along, by the time she came to me, her children did not talk to her. She was divorced. She was going through a lot of more anxiety and chronic fatigue. She had a lot of illness. She would have, she had cancer a few times. She struggled with everybody staying away from her. Like she was lonely. She was super lonely. And when I had worked on her, I told her, you're lonely because you push those people away because you don't feel good enough. And when we started working on it, she realized, oh my God, you are right. So there's a long story there, but what she was holding on to was her mother's guilt of being a bad parent. Now, we worked on her before we got to the mom because she felt guilty about being a bad parent. Her husband divorced her, and he was fighting custody for the kids, which puts a lot of stress on the body. And that stress, you feel like a bad parent because you can't give the kids the life they love when you are fighting with your spouse over custody, and then you're losing money and there is no money, and you're just going crazy, you're getting angry, and all that you take out on the child, not realizing it's not their fault. But when you get angry, you just want them to leave you alone. So I started getting angry with my dog and my son. And I know when I get a little irritated, I can blame like the lack of sleep. And I share with my son, I'm sorry that I'm a little angry. I'm tired. It's not about you. I always share, it's never about you. And I just bought him an e-bike, but he kept pushing me on these bikes and he wanted me to drive an hour away. And I'm like, no, I'm not driving an hour away to go get a bike and find out it's not the bike we want. And so, but I could hear the anger in him. He's so calm, very calm, just like me. Don't know what's going on in his head. But what I shared with him and realized that the anger is, I was holding on to anger and guilt because I want to give him the life that he wants. And what it was is the anger was coming up that his dad's not here. Good morning. Good morning. So the anger was, I was still angry. His dad died 10 years ago. I'm subconsciously still angry that he left our family and he gave up on us. And I understand. So this was suicide. And although as an adult, I know what happened. The voices in his head took advantage of him, and the medications the doctors took him off couldn't stop the voices. So I got it as an adult. But a part of me is like, how could you leave your son? He was only 2 years old. So I share this because we are holding on to emotions, and those emotions come out as anxiety and overwhelm and exhausted. And as long as you're holding that energy and you're not meditating, so meditation did nothing for me. I do breath work. The breath work I'm doing is releasing the stuck energy and the emotions of holding on. Now I'm going to tell you, I've dealt with the stomach my entire life, and you know to go to the bathroom every single day. And all of a sudden I've been like constipated. So constipation means holding on to something. I'm holding on to guilt, blame, anger. And so I still can feel it, that there's something going on. So I shared this story with my mom. I'm like, Mom, and because I talked to my mom about generational trauma, and generational trauma is when you've got your parents' pain. You're holding on to their pain. I've released my depression through my grandmother's pain, her fibromyalgia. So, but today we're talking about anxiety and exhaustion, right? So when I shared the story about my mom, I'm like, Mom, every story came up about my son, how I wasn't there when he was having surgery. The doctors told me, oh yeah, we'll call you before he wakes up. And he was in the arms of a stranger. When I walked in the room, I was just beside myself. I'm like, how dare them? They didn't call me. He woke up and he's got bandages on him. And he's like, what's going on? And he's like a little scared puppy. I was just livid to this very moment. It bothers me, right? And if it bothers you from something that happened 10 years ago, you're holding on to the guilt. So I'm holding on to guilt. So he's 12. That was 10 years ago. He had that surgery. I'm holding on to guilt of something that happened because of his dad died. So what I share is when you are holding on to something, it comes off as anxiety, exhaustion. It could be depression. You're holding on to like, what is going on? So that's the subconscious. You don't know that, but that's what happened. So I'll be letting go of that. So what I did to release it was through the breath work. And the breath work is just basically, yeah, all of us can breathe, right? But are we breathing right? So many of us, when you get scared, what happens when you get scared? You hold your breath. You're like, and that's how your body goes into fight and flight. And then your nervous system, if you're still living in the past, like if you're still living on something that happened to you as a child. Now, mind you, I was holding on to something a while ago. of something that happened to me when I was 2 years old. I didn't even know what happened to me when I was 2 years old, but it was in my body. Thank you. Thank you for reporting him. I kind of ignore people that say mean things because they're non-believers, but I also believe they are here to listen. If I can just trigger something to change their beliefs, that yes, because I have 10 years ago when I used to share my stories, I used to have people that would say things, and I just killed them with kindness, and we would become friends because what I would do is I would trigger a story, and that story would open them up, like, that's how I feel. So a lot of people's beliefs, they block their beliefs because they don't know, and they don't know why they're blocking the beliefs. I'm not a doctor. I experienced some. I'm an anxiety decoder and breathwork healer. So I've healed my, thank you. I've healed my symptoms through breath work and tuning into the body, communicating with it. So you might say like I'm a healer, but I teach people and guide them how to communicate with their own body, because you can go to a doctor and a doctor tells you what's wrong, but they don't know, because if 100 of us go in there with the same symptom, yours can be lack of minerals, yours can be your diet, yours can be you're holding on to guilt. Each one of us has a different reason why we have anxiety. So I've had so many different types of anxiety, 5 different types. One, I did an organ cleanse that got rid of that type of anxiety. I was an empath. I absorbed other people's pain. That was another type of anxiety. Holding on to guilt and anger. Good afternoon from very sunny and beautiful Sweden. Thank you, Tommy. I'm here talking about exhaustion and anxiety and why do we have it. And really, I'm talking about tuning into your body and letting go of the pain. Hi from Ireland. The pain that we experience sometimes is in our own body, and the only way we can get out is to let go and releasing those stuck, trapped emotions. So I stopped drinking 4 years ago, drinking because I was uncomfortable, realizing the discomfort is being uncomfortable in my own body, which many of us are. That's why we start drinking and smoking and whatever we do with these addictions. Some people become workaholics. But what I didn't realize is I'm going through transformation, like the little caterpillar turning into the butterfly. It's hard work healing. I drank for, 40 years. So I never sat and processed all the emotions. Now, some people can stop drinking and feel fantastic. Why? I've never had a 9-to-5 job, and I made more money than most of the supervisors that worked for me, that worked 9-to-5, and they came and worked for me because they worked less. Why would I get a 9-to-5 job? Never had a 9-to-5 job. I've been self-employed since I was 19. Thank you. And anyway, so when you start, so you'll hear when people are in pain, it's an inside job. And when you're exhausted and you've gone to every doctor and nothing's worked, it's because you got to dig your way out of the rabbit hole. And so I was sharing fatigue and overwhelm is sometimes it's holding on. Mind you, it can be a diet. I mean, the first 40 years, I changed my diet and everything worked. But everything changed for me when I had my son. When I had my son, all of a sudden, now you have to have responsibility. And those responsibilities go in here in your mind. Am I going to be a good parent? Am I going to be able to provide for them? Am I going to screw it up? Am I going to be like my parents? Am I going to be a horrible parent? Am I going to be just like my parents? No, you don't have to be. Sometimes we are and we forget. But I don't raise my son as yelling at him. I communicate with him, and that's the kind of parent I wanted to be. But even though I'm being exactly the kind of parent I want to be, are you homeless, Shadow? I'm sorry. Being the parent I want to be, and I communicate, I still feel guilt. And I feel guilt, I think, because part of it is because I'm still angry with his dad leaving us. He took it, and if you're new on here, he took his life. And so when I was sharing the story to my mom of everything that I was feeling, and she's like, that's how I feel. She felt like she was always she wasn't being a good mom. She was doing her best. Now she did work 8 to 5 and she felt guilty, but you have to put a roof over the head, right? Over our head and put food on the table. A lot of kids don't understand that because they're young. They're like 3, 4, 5 years old. Why do you leave us to go to work? And this is where your money problems come in. Like, do you not love me, mommy and daddy, because you keep leaving me? I experienced that because my son asked me, why do you keep going to work to make money? Is that more important to you than being with me? And I had to share the story. And so that's how I communicate, because even though children don't usually talk, at 4 years old, he asked me, and I didn't talk because I was afraid of talking because of experiences that I went through as a child, my own child, my childhood trauma. So what I share is learn to communicate with the body, whether it's through me or through somebody else. Follow me, subscribe, and I share how to find out, where is this exhaustion and anxiety coming from? Is there something holding you back? So again, when I shared the story with my mom's like, that's exactly how I feel. Maybe that pain isn't even yours, it's mine. And again, generational trauma, it'll trickle down. The same thing will repeat. It's a pattern until the pattern is changed. I'm changing the pattern. And I hope my son doesn't go through this when he gets married and has children, because he is so different. He's more confident and courageous. Like, he could knock on doors and ask if there's any kids that live there. I was super shy. I think my mom wasn't super shy, but she was protected by her friends. And both of us, we didn't have very many friends. I was more into nature. My friends were the animals and the bugs and the reptiles, right? So I shared this because if I trigger you, maybe you'll understand that I don't feel good because maybe I'm holding on to guilt. God says freedom to those heard by God's pleas. So I don't talk about religion here. I talk about, why are we exhausted? If you've changed your diet, if you exercise, if you're breathing in all the way down to the pit of your stomach without crying, and you can do that for 2 minutes, you got to try it for 30 minutes. So even though I started breathing in and out, I would start crying and releasing stuck energy. And that stuck energy is, I feel guilty, I feel blame, I feel judgment. And this is towards me, myself, because when we get in here, our heads are what keeps us from moving forward. It's what our thoughts are. And I had to, even though as an adult, I don't believe that, subconsciously I do. It really sucks. Subconscious, it's all your beliefs that were created the first 5 years of your life, and they protect you. And they keep you from living the life you love. So my life was pretty much good, and I was ecstatic about having a baby at 46. But having a baby at 46, then all my life changed. Even though it was a good life, all my thoughts changed. And that's where I see that people go into trouble, because now they have responsibility of raising a child. And then guilt, like, am I going to be able to afford this child? Am I going to raise him the right way? Am I doing a good enough job? Did I leave him with the right babysitter? Are his friends okay? There's so much that goes on, that, like, he had his first girlfriend, and I'm like, am I going to be like those other parents that are going to monitor who he dates and who he doesn't date? Am I going to monitor his experiences? He went and bought a bike, and I just drove him, and I needed him to experience buying a used bike, because I know people rip you off. And although I can tell him, look for these certain things, you got to make sure they're a real person. They're not going to rip you off. Do not give them the money. But he also has to learn some of this stuff on his own. So he got a bike, and they filled up the tire. And as soon as we got home, the tire was flat. So what happened is, I'm teaching an experience, all right? If you don't like it, go somewhere else. What's your deal? I'm yapping because that's what I do. That's how people resonate with me. Anyway, so he got home with a flat tire, and it didn't faze him at all, which is good because I was just livid. I'm like, the guy didn't give him a battery charger, he didn't give him a key, but he was so excited, and I had to learn. Okay, troll. That's okay. Be a troll. I don't care. Maybe this will resonate. If you have children, you want to listen to these stories because we as parents are sometimes hard on ourselves, and being hard on yourself keeps you from living the life you love, right? By feeling guilty, and then it comes out as anxiety and overwhelm, exhaustion, and we beat ourselves up, keeping us from living when you want to breathe and let go of those energies. So where was I? So he was so excited about getting this bike, and it bothered me that there's no charger, no key, a flat tire. I had to go get the stuff to fix the flat tire, but he's happy. And it taught me a lesson right there that he's fine. He's happy. But it's when the parents freak out is where the kids will pick up on that, and they'll start using that, and it'll become their habits because they'll think that's normal. So I share this as a parent, and to be calm around the children. And when you're uptight and angry and anxiety and overwhelmed, you want to leave. How about you teach American women how to be realistic? Well, being realistic, sometimes they can't be realistic because they're still holding on to anxiety. But thank you, Darth. I'm not sure how to teach realistic. I teach pain, being grateful. So would realistic be grateful? Maybe I'll do that on another topic. And not just women. People are not grateful. I still say thank you to my son at 12 years old for doing the dishes. Thank you for coming and getting the groceries out of the car. And as parents, if we're not, I'm kind of switch subject, if we're not being grateful, who's teaching the kids to be grateful? If we're not still saying thank you to the kids till this very day, even when they're 30 years old, because I ask parents, are you still saying thank you? Because I didn't hear them saying thank you. They don't say thank you to their spouse, whether they're a man or a woman. Saying thank you, I still say thank you to my son and will, because that will teach him to always say thank you to everybody else. And everyone, all his friends' parents call me and say he's very respectful. And when you teach them that way, they become that way. So I know a lot of my friends, they don't say thank you to their kids. And I'm like, why aren't you saying thank you? How are you going to teach them to say thank you to other people if you're not saying thank you to your own child? Why are they going to be grateful for anything if they don't understand how to be grateful? By learning and being taught, right? Okay, so back to the anxiety and overwhelm, the exhaustion. We can heal that. There's no reason to suffer, and I do it through breath work. So how do you let go of that anxiety? Thank you, Mutant. Thank you. Thank you. So how do you change letting go of the anxiety? I'm going to do a breath work, 2 minutes. This is how I do this. And I've been doing this for like the last 3 years. I've healed most of my symptoms. Healing is not an overnight experience. Mind you, I did change the diet, but it took 3 months. So when you make changes, it doesn't happen overnight. If you're trying to let go of anxiety, yeah, it can be the diet, it can be the detoxing, but when it's an inside job and you're working on your emotions and your subconscious, it takes time. Mind you, I was doing this for 3 years, but I was also listening to other people. You can step into who you want to be, but my subconscious kept pulling me back. I spent the last 10 years learning about the subconscious. We have a beautiful 4-year-old daughter together. I don't have any daughters. Oh, we have a beautiful 4-year-old daughter together. I thought you were talking about me. We do? I'd love to have a daughter. You're talking about you and your spouse or your partner? The little kids are so cute, even big kids. Mine's 12. Ex-wife. And how are you feeling? Are you having any anxiety or exhaustion raising this child? Or maybe you're feeling, you just came on, but I was sharing how a lot of us, being a single parent, whether you're divorced or your partner's deceased, Um, yeah, do you have plenty of energy? So I'm talking about having exhaustion and anxiety. And I was talking to my mom about this, how we are all, my health was totally fine until I had a child. And when he hit 2 years old, I didn't have postpartum, but I did have depression when he hit two. And what that did is it triggered me from my 2 year old believing that, am I going to be a good parent or a bad parent? Am I going to be able to provide? And a lot of that subconsciously goes through the mind of, oh my God. And you don't know it because I'm doing everything I believe I'm supposed to do. And I believe I'm a good parent. I was a stay-at-home mom. I could raise him and work out of my home. My husband died. But I was okay because I was the breadwinner. I was the one making all the money. We were in a beautiful house. He was good, but all of a sudden I just crashed and I would drop him off at daycare and I couldn't work. Hi, Johnny. And so what was going on is this was my guilt coming in. Like, how am I going to raise this child without a dad? How am I going to support this child? Am I going to be a good mother? And all of that stuff kicks in when we're parents. Didn't know that because I wasn't working on that. Have a 15-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son and a newborn son. You are busy, Junior Garza. Congrats. I would love to have more children. Every time I asked for another child, we got animals. So we had 3 cats, we had a dog, and but my husband's no longer with us. And so are you feeling energetic and do you have a lot of energy? You obviously have energy to make babies. My wife left me because I bet on our savings, including college funds. I'm sorry to hear that and loss. You took a chance. You took a chance, and I'm sorry that happened. So you may have some money blocks in taking those chances. So I took chances and lost money in the stock market. I also won money but never pulled it out and then lost it, which really sucks because that no sign came to me saying pull the money out of the stock market and live on it. Anyways, so you may want to work on money blocks and why you lost all the money and what subconsciously was going on. Will you marry me? So I should do it again? No, what you should do is find out what the money blocks are and make better choices. So again, I've done the same thing. I've had money. I didn't spend all my savings. I took portions. I took chances. But before, so what I learned, because I have wisdom now, is why do I take chances and I lose? So you want to ask yourself, why do I take chances and nothing good happens? My wife passed away before Christmas Eve and we just had a newborn baby. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Junior Garza. I'm sorry to hear that. So you're a single parent. I am betting on my left kidney. So again, you've got to learn the lesson. So I had to learn the lessons of why do I keep failing? And for me, I'm holding on to guilt and guilt of, what are you talking about? I'm talking about anxiety and overwhelm as a parent, and because I never had anxiety until I became a parent. I never had exhaustion. I had depression and chronic fatigue. You will get it back. You've done it once, you will do it again. But what you want to do is let go. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody's claiming it's time to start working. How long have I been on here? 34 minutes. Okay. What is your problem? I don't have a problem. But the issue is holding on to guilt subconsciously will keep you from living life. She'll come back when I have the money. Well, and again, that's why your wife left you. So you've got to work on making the money, and you shouldn't have spent it all, but there's a proper way. So again, I put it in stock market and lost it. I put it in crypto and didn't hold on to it, pulled it out and trusted an investor with it, and they ran off with it. So I get that you took chances. Thank you. My tongue is getting tight. Anyways, you want to clear that energy of why do I make mistakes? There's a program running, and if you look at that program, whether it's exhaustion, losing your money, because so I kept losing my money every time I would invest. I invested in somebody's idea, and I found they took my money and they were going out in limos and drinking every night in fancy restaurants while I'm slaving and working. This is before I had a child. So I took chances on people, believing in them. So there's a program running that things are not working for you because good things don't happen to people like you and me. And I had to let go of, I don't deserve to have it. So if that makes sense, let me know. Somewhere there's a program. So I'm going to let you know where my program started is when my dad left me, I thought. And it was actually even further that I had some trauma happen when I was 2 years old. So if you had trauma in your life or a parent leave when you were young, this could be, it's a program. So my program is someone took away my voice and I didn't feel that I deserved to have a good life because I felt like a bad child. Anywhere you felt, now this goes before you're 6 years old. If you felt that you were a bad child, even though you were a child, there's a program running until you heal that part of you that's a lie. I am a good child. I do deserve to have money. I was good at making it and I took chances and invested it, but none of my investments ever made it, which is a lie because I did have good investments. I made money. The problem is I never pulled it out of the stock market. And when the stock market crashed, it all died. I was in surgery for getting a plate put in my leg. And that surgery cost me to lose $100,000 in the stock market because the stock market crashed. Shopping by to spread love. Pass it on. Thank you, Jacob. She probably moved on. Yes, you are. So does that make sense? If you lost your money, you got to look at the programming. Why did I lose this money? Why did this not work for me? And go back, and it trickles back to your inner child. Like, I don't deserve to hold on to this money. I don't deserve to have good things happen to me. And that's what you have to go back and change. That's what I changed through breath work. And when you're holding on to things don't work for me, nothing good happens to me because I don't deserve to have money, it's a program that you have to release. Did I repeat myself? Because I want you to think about this. You have to look into, so you can do this, screaming to be sugar mama. You want to be a sugar mama? So you ask yourself, do I deserve to have good things happen to me? And if the program says no, you have to let go of all the reasons why you don't deserve to have good things happen to you. Does that make sense? So this is what transformation is about. Letting go of the anxiety and the overwhelm is releasing all the reasons why things don't move forward. You've got to go back into the programming and release. Yes, I do deserve it. Where did I lose it? Some people don't have to go back. I did. Because in order for me to understand my client, I needed to know all the possibilities. Had I not learned about generational, gestational trauma, I would not know that when I worked on a client and she had issues with her twin sister inside the womb of her mother. And she was already angry. So she had identical twin sister, and has always been angry with her since she was born. Now her twin sister had some health issues. But inside the womb, she was angry with her sister because her sister was sick and she didn't understand it because she's a baby, she's a fetus. Thank you, Lordly. I scanned her soul. She mean every word. You scanned my soul? Lordly? What do you think? So again, we can change anything about us, but you have to go back into the programming of where it was created. So some of us don't have to. Some of us can just do the affirmations, the mantras, and focus on the life we love. 8 years ago, I had a focus. I've never given up that dream. But for me, I must have been bad my karma. It's like I had to release stuff from my past lives. You want to some people do Heal. I don't know the difference, but I think it's a form of meditation just to clear the mind. Karma, that is Hinduism. Well, it wasn't Hindu, whether it's Hinduism or not. I've had to go and clear back some of my karma because my mom's karma, she kept saying, it's my karma. That's why I'm not supposed to live the life I love. And I didn't believe in that, but it came up. Become the #1 fan in the fan club. Okay, I want to become the #1 fan. So, again, some of you, all you have to do is change your diet, change your thinking. I feel like we can't change anything, just adapt with it. You can change. I've changed. His wife is probably remarried. Nah, that's not very nice. So I've changed because I no longer have depression. I no longer have fibromyalgia, autoimmune disease. You have control over your own life. We all have control over our own life. No, this is about getting rid of anxiety and exhaustion. This is about changing who you are. No religion. So he was just saying and karma is Hinduism. But I don't think it's Hinduism because I'm not Hinduism, and I learned through my guides that and my mom about karma. Changing diet does all that. So yeah, I changed my diet, but once I had a child, everything changed, and that's when I learned about the ego. Anxiety and Exhaustion self-help book. Self-help book, I've been doing self-help books since I was 22. I've got the Louise Hayes, but changing the affirmations, writing and journaling. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for the hearts. I don't know what that means, but thank you. Grasshopper. I love saying grasshopper from the Karate Kid. Thank you, grasshopper. Stress create. So a lot of my stress was holding on to guilt, which was creating anxiety. So that's the subconscious. And although I don't think Louise Hayes teaches subconscious because I didn't learn that in her book, I had to learn it through a lot of the free stuff and a lot of the coaching, that it's our subconscious, something that happened the first 5 years of our life that we have to change. So again, when I had a child, I had become responsible, and that's where fear kicked in, like I'm going to be a bad parent. And that's what I'm talking about. Do Karate Kid grasshopper. Grasshopper. All right. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. I did change my time. So I did change it. I went on at 8 a.m. I was supposed to say that at the beginning. I forgot. I will say it again. I'll come on a different post. So diet, changing your mindset, all worked my entire life until I had a baby. Exercise. Once I had a baby, my subconscious, how we can pass or fix ourselves. So you start with it. So I'll repeat myself. Momdo, do you have any children? So I was talking about children and how I was working on a client who's 62, who was still holding on to guilt, even though her kids are grown up and out of the house. She was sick all the time and was holding on to the guilt of being a bad parent. And it wasn't even her guilt. It was her mother's guilt. But we hold on to everything in the body if we're not processing. And people will say, breathe, you let go by exercising. But I exercise every single day, but it's the way you breathe. And that's what I teach. So fixing yourself, you got to first go with your diet. And if you can't stay on your diet, it's because subconsciously your body fights against you, saying, I'm holding on to this guilt. I don't want to let it go. I want to stay here. It's safe. That's why a lot of people can't change their diet. You know what? Stop talking about his wife. We're trying to help people here, okay? Be nice. So, changing your diet, mindset, exercise does help. If you're unable to do that, there's a program running that I'm not good enough to do this. And then so we're talking about having children. If you have children, hi Junior Garza, thanks for being here. if you have children, the reason why you have all this is guilt, and it's subconscious, and it goes back to, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, this is for all the new people that came on. When you have a child, you're now holding on to your feelings. Feel that feel good in here. It's nice. Thank you, Grasshopper. Just to let you know, I'm on TikTok and YouTube at the same time. So when you don't see some of the information, that's why. So when I had a child and I became depressed, when all my trauma came, it was when I was 2 years old. So my trauma hit when I was 2 years old with my son. When he hit 2, then my subconscious said, oh my God, I'm going to be a bad parent, because that's when my trauma hit. I was triggered, and that's where depression came in, and all my symptoms, chronic fatigue. Be nice, guys. It's important discussion. Oh, Mamdo, do you have children? I asked you that question. You didn't answer. And thank you for the nice comment. So when my son turns 2 is when I was triggered and all my health issues started coming up. Health issues, chronic fatigue, depression, staring at the ceiling. And at the time, doing like couldn't get out of bed. I would drop him off and have energy with him. And what I found, hey mama, how you doing? I am doing fantastic, thank you. So when I would drop him off, I'd have the energy to eat breakfast with him, get him dressed, and he was the love of my life. But when I would drop him off, it was like something triggered me, and I went home and went back to bed. And when my wife is Chinese, my mom is Chinese, cool. Always wanted a Chinese child, but it didn't happen. I have to marry Chinese, but there is an 8th Chinese in my body. I look like my dad. So when I would pick up my son, I always had energy at 3 o'clock to pick him up and play with him and have fun. And I'm like, what is going on here? I found that that was because I felt safe with him, and I only felt safe with my son. And when his dad would take him, because we weren't together, okay, get off the gambling. We've moved on from that. We've talked about money problems, and there's a program running that he makes bad decisions. We just talked about how I gambled and I invested, and it didn't work out for me. No, I'm still 20, but in the future, God willing. I had my baby at 46, and my life began, and I started learning about the ego and the subconscious. So everything was easy for me, owning my own business. Everything was working for me. I was in great shape. I worked out every day, had fun, enjoyed life. I did drink a lot. But when I stopped drinking 4 years ago, yeah, I had a child and I was still drinking, but I wasn't drinking while I was pregnant or he was little. But anyways, because I never knew what it was like to be around people sober, I was uncomfortable with my own skin. I started learning anxiety. So I had anxiety. When you are a mother, completely understand that ladies suffer without. But I found supporting my wife, listening, taking as much of workload away from her, I feel husbands have large part to play. Oh, that's beautiful. So I was actually the breadwinner and the mom. And I was supporting 2 children because my son's dad had his own problems, which he's not with us today. And he was feeling the pressures of being a good dad. We both were 46, our first child. He was so in love with him, but the voices in his head took him down, and the doctors were changing his medications. That's another story in itself. But with moms and even dads, because if you're a single dad, you have responsibility. You are feeling the guilt of, oh my God, I'm single, and I don't have both parents in my life. Did I make the right decision? Because you're always thinking about those children. And again, if you have children and you did not come up with a good family lifestyle, like you had a bad chaotic childhood. I was brought up with just my mom. My dad had passed away. So I didn't have siblings. So I didn't learn how to debate. And I didn't learn a lot of stuff that you have with siblings. But I was spoiled in a certain way. My mom gave me everything, just like I do with my son. But even talking to my mom today, she's 80 years old. She's like, I feel exactly how you're feeling. Now, I am an older parent, so a lot of the stuff came after I had my son, of that guilt of, am I going to be a good parent? I feel guilty that I'm an older parent sometimes. Am I going to be around? But I am going to be around. I know I'm going to be around because God is good to me, right? It's very difficult having a child. You're right, the responsibility. So for me, I don't feel that it was hard having a child. When you're 46 having a child, everything that people told me, it's hard. For me, it wasn't hard to have a child. I mean, I had the money at the time. I had a home. And we both parents, mom and dad, we fought over our child, who's going to watch him. And bless his heart, Dad. You know, I would hear both of them crying in the hallway, and he would be crying. I'm like, I don't know why he's crying. And I would come out and come on, both of you come lay in my bed. He's just a little couple weeks old. It was beautiful. He loved being a dad. And I wish he was still here today, because I know he's looking over us and saying, what a proud mom, proud dad he is, watching me raise our child. And my stepbro is a toaster, and my left finger is pink. I don't know what that means. Can I play guitar? Anyways, so yeah, there are some difficulties, I'm sure. And a lot of those fears that come in, I didn't have those fears, but I could believe that the fear is, am I going to be a better parent than my parent? And that's where you have to let go of that stuck energy. So letting go of those stuck energies. Yes, I have 4 eyes. Can't see a thing without them until I turn off the phones. Those phones are so small. Yeah, I'm on my phone. But what it is, the reason you have this anxiety and a lot of this overwhelm and exhaustion is because you're always competing against yourself and your parents if you're going to be a better parent than them. And it's that you're holding on to. Am I going to be a better parent? Am I going to just be like my parents? And you go into fear, like, I don't want to be like my parents. And you don't have to, but it's hard when you're programmed, right? So I don't feel like I'm like my mom. I know I'm a good parent. My mom yelled a lot. I don't yell very often, very rare. When I yell, the dog, the kids, all the animals run. But I'm usually yelling at my electronics, because electronics are difficult for people. My mom is turning my children against me for not taking them on holiday. We moved to a holiday destination so they could do holiday things whenever they want. Funny how she never has money, yet we do. My mom is turning my children against me for not taking them on holiday. That's a tough one, because my mom is old. I use she's old, but she doesn't even spend a whole lot of time with me, which is fine. I am mom, dad, and grandparents. But I don't know how old your kids are, but she can't turn them against you. You need to communicate with your kids and make sure that maybe not see them. Let her see them if that's the way she's going to talk. I know I've had some friends that say my kids or their parents would smoke around their kids, and they didn't put a stop to it. It's like, these are your kids. I know I had a friend who the grandparents would mock her when she would tell her kids to do something. That grandparents would say, oh, you don't have to do that, honey. And so I know a lot. I don't have the grandparents doing that. I'm grateful that I have the energy to support my child, and I wish my mom would spend more time, but she wasn't she wasn't like a child, like knowing how to work with children. She didn't think my son even liked her that much. I'm like, Mom, he's a child. He likes everyone. Well, you make the sun look dim compared to the brightness of your beauty. Well, thank you. It's good to yell, especially at the dog and wife. No, I don't like yelling. Usually when I'm yelling, it's because I'm holding on to anger, because the electronics aren't working. I mean, how many, so my son, I can hear my son laughing, because when I get on the phone and it's an AI. It says push a button for this, this, and this. And I'm like, I am pushing the button. And he's laughing. And I'm like, I did tell you what I want. You're not listening. And you're fighting with an AI. Oh my God. He's even been in the car, and finally I get to where I want to be, but I hope he knows how to work with that. I liked you even though it was my first time seeing you, and I will follow you upcoming lives because I really need to develop my mindset. Bless you. It's the way you said it. I don't know what I said. You have green eyes. And are you morally corrupt? I am not, that I'm aware of. I am comfortable with my emotions. If I need to yell, then I yell, usually at the homeless person to get my anger out. Hello, ma'am. Hello, I like your glasses. Why is mindset so hard? Because there's a part of you that doesn't believe it. The mindset, so even though, do you believe in rock and roll? Yeah, I love rock and roll. So let me talk back. Why is mindset so hard? Mindset is so hard because there's a program running that you don't believe it. So since I've changed careers, and working with my child and wondering why I have anxiety, I've been doing the mindset my entire life, and all of a sudden things aren't working. It's because there's a program running. And I don't know if you have children. Do you have an account on Instagram? I do. It's Heal2 Change. Just like it's spelled here, HEAL2 change. Oh, there's that puzzle thing. Hold on. I get this puzzle thing. I got to put the little puzzle piece in. So mindset, you want to write it out. So let me share with you really quick. You write out how you want to feel. Sometimes when I write a question, I do it on my Facebook group. Even though I'm asking the Facebook group the question, the universe sends me the answer immediately. When you're trying to set your mindset and you're not getting there, it's because there's a program saying that you don't believe it, and it's wondering why you're not believing it is what you have to work on. Why don't you believe it? For me, I didn't deserve that. Like every time, so I made money, I had my own business, but I could never get ahead. And there's a program that was running that I didn't believe I deserved it because of a trauma that happened when I was 2 years old. And if you had trauma and you're still living, so everything happens the first 6 years of your life. It's just a program running. So if there's a part of you that thinks that your brother or sister is more important than you are, and you became the caretaker or the one that supported the children, the younger ones, because you're the oldest, that's a program that you're always taking care of people. If you are an only child like myself, and you believed, and you had trauma. So I did have trauma. I had an uncle do things to me, and the pressure of him on my chest took my breath away and kept me from speaking. So I had to learn how to speak just in the last 10 years, because teaching my son to speak and be outgoing, I had to learn to be a public speaker. I was not comfortable doing this. He did bad things to me. He was laying on top of me. What do you think about introverted childs? They will be extroverted when they will be. So I don't know about children. So I taught my child to be outgoing because I was super shy as a child. Again, my life was taken away. And although I don't make it about what happened, I forgave him. He's dead now, but I forgave what my uncle did to me, laying on top of me, taking my breath away so I couldn't speak and yell and ask for, please save me. That was a part of what was going on with me my entire life. It's like nobody was there saving me. And so, yeah, so once I had a child, I was triggered. And once that child, once he was 2, because of what happened to me when I was 2 years old, I needed to protect my son. I could not protect my son. And I felt very guilty that I could not protect him. So I'm just going to be honest. Something happened to my son when he was 2 years old, which is a program that's running the same thing. And God knows I do know who did it. And wait, your uncle did what? He was laying on top of me. And It doesn't matter what he was doing, because not everybody was molested or touched a certain way. I have learned that some clients that I worked with, ladies, were touched in a way, and even though they were 2 years old, it made them feel good. And they were put in jail when they told their mom, and they felt guilty. So then they have to work on that guilt of holding on that I made a person go away. And I had to help them say, hey, you did nothing wrong. They did something to you, if that makes sense. So when my son turned 2 and I was triggered with all that, I felt guilty that I could not save my son from having this happen to him. Because remember, if it happened to you, it's going to happen to the children, because it trickles down. Everything that happens to you until you change it. Learn the lesson. I had to learn the lesson. Women should preach. It's because of a man that men are cowards, because they make women not speak. Come on. Women are becoming stronger. You know that? Women were probably speakers and healers, and men came along and shut us down because they're stronger. But we are coming out and becoming better than what men are, and we're just as good. Because if you look at all, I'm not going to get into religion. Let's just stop that. I'm here to teach about anxiety and how come we don't feel good. It's because a lot of times we get shut down by the parents, and that's why I'm happy to announce that my son is very outgoing. I had to learn to be outgoing by him being outgoing. He's teaching me like I'm teaching him. I teach him certain things. I wanted him to be opposite. I was shy because of what happened to me when I was 2 years old. And it's okay. I forgave my uncle and forgave myself, because what happens is when you're holding on to that energy of guilt and anger towards someone, it's mirrored to you that you're holding on to it to yourself. Does that make sense? So when we're back to mindset and setting the mindset, embrace your child's personality and try and improve the bad and the good parts. Yeah, so I'm letting go of the guilt. And so when I yell, because I don't do it very often, I know I'm holding on to anger. And I was still holding on to anger that his dad left us. He left us behind. Although it's not his fault, I know that as an adult. But a part of me, because my dad left me when I was a child, not his fault, he died, but as children, we don't know. Wait, I make sure my woman has the room to vent and grow. If they don't vent and let go of the energy, they're holding it in. And back in the olden days, women were not allowed to speak or say anything or express anything. Your voice is, you have to speak and let out that stuck energy. I need help with anxiety because I don't really know how to deal with it when it comes to my lady. So you don't know how to sit and listen? Or is the anxiety coming up because you came up with nobody listened to you as a child? Slimeball, ask yourself, if nobody was listening to you as a child, it created anxiety because your parents had anxiety and they didn't know how to deal with you to express. So you took on it to yourself that you wanted to be a good listener, but you still have anxiety that you're holding on to with your parents. Does that make sense? What's strong about women? Love, care. What's strong about women is they have feelings, and if they don't let their feelings out, I've been dealing with PTSD for 42 years from the Navy. I'm sorry to hear that. And I don't work with PTSD with Navy people. I work with people that have children because that's not my expertise. Sorry to say that, but I do a lot of breath work. And amazing how much emotion and PTSD I have from a trauma that happened when I was 2 years old and holding on to guilt. And sorry you went through all that. Energy, what are you, an electrician? What's electrician got to do with it? You sound stupid. You don't remember what happened at 2. Many people don't remember because you block it out. That's not stupid. Your body protects you and prevents you. You remember what happened when you're... Obviously, you don't remember what happened to you when you were 2 years old, because why would you say something so mean and call someone stupid, or saying I sound stupid? Why would you even say that unless there's something going on with you that you don't feel secure about your own self that you have to say something like that? Women's strength is in the children she raises. I think women need to keep making babies up till they reach 50. Impossible. I don't know what's impossible. How can you tell a woman she can't remember something that happened to her at 2? I didn't remember because, well, first of all, many people don't remember being 2 years old. Many, not just women. Women's fertility is up to I had my baby at 46, and he's healthy. He's 12 now. That tells you how old I am. So telling somebody that they can't remember something, when people, like, I'm 60, so I hear people that can't remember last week. That doesn't make them stupid. There's something blocking them from moving forward. That's all that is. There's a problem that they're protecting themselves. With a woman, and a man remains unmotivated. With a woman, a man remains unmotivated. I was very motivating with my husband. I don't think men are the problem. I do hate that all those things happen to you. It's not that men or women are the problem. It's society, first of all, right now. What happened to me was by a man. I don't blame him. That's my experience I had to go through to be able to teach people that you have to let go. If I was holding on to something that happened to me when I was 2 years old, then mind you, I didn't know what happened to me until I was 50, then I'm responsible for that. And men and women are responsible for how they feel. They just don't know that because we rely on doctors. But when it comes to be an emotional, a subconscious thing, stupid comments come from stupid people. I don't believe that stupid comments come from stupid people, but I'm sorry you believe that way. When people say stupid comments like that, it comes from you're protecting yourself from being who you want to be because you don't know how to be nice to people, and probably people are not nice to you. And I'm sorry to hear that. I was saying to the dude that commented saying you sound stupid. Oh, okay, thank you. But it definitely changed your outlook on men. I still loved men, and I attracted unhealthy men because my body protected me from having healthy men because I was afraid that no healthy man would love me. I don't have that problem now, but now I'm still letting go of, because obviously I have a healthy little boy. He's a healthy man, and I'm going to raise him to be a good person. And just to tell you a really cute, he had his first girlfriend, and he actually went on one of those sites where you download an app, and he bought her Valentine's presents, 6 of them, with his own money, and he's 12, his first girlfriend. I thought he was kind of overdoing it. I don't think you should do that when you first start dating a woman, but he has to learn, right? And then after 6 weeks, she dumped him. He doesn't know why, and he doesn't care. He just wants nothing to do with her. Or did it not? I'm not sure what the question is, or did it not? But it definitely changed your outlook. I didn't think I had a problem with men. I know there's good men out there. I wasn't attracting them. And a lot of people will say they've been married 3 times, and they'll say on both sides, there's no good people out there. There's no good women. There's no good men. There are. But until you change yourself, which that's what I've been doing, a woman's strength is just a sign of modern times. Times change. You can't see my comment. I have to use your picture. Women don't or shouldn't chase strengths. They should chase a family. Is the only way you could see me? Is the only way you could see me? Definitely Simpy. Don't tell women what they should do. No, you never tell women. Exactly. You can ask a woman to do something. But yeah, you never tell anybody what to do. And you always say thank you. I don't ever hear parents saying thank you to their kids. So what are you teaching your kids? And I shared this earlier. I share with my son. I shared on here. When he did the dishes for me, because I bought him a bike, I said thank you. And he's always thanking me. I bought him a bike. He says thank you like 3 different times at that night when I bought it, in the morning, and then when he came home, because he's so excited. But I always tell him thank you. And now I don't know if I'm answering the questions, because now I'm talking too much. You have great teeth. Thank you. I got braces. Are any women in glasses like this is alone and miserable? any women in glasses like that, I'm not alone and miserable. I'm pretty happy. I don't know, but you have to be nice, because if you say something mean, these can be bots in here. And when you say something mean, it's just saying that they're right. So I don't say mean things, because I know there's a lot of people that are here to be trolls, but they're also here to learn. And that's why the only reason they're here. And then some of them are bots. So they do that so you get frustrated. So I'm not going to get frustrated. Why? I mean, a lot of people that say mean things are unhappy with their own life. And I get that, because I've talked to them. And I share this story. I share the story about the person that said, I'm protecting these people from you. And I'm like, how are you protecting them from me? There's 1,000 people on here that are listening to me and open-minded. And I'm like, you're always entitled to your own opinion. And he said, thank you. And I said, and I still love you. And do you know, from that moment that I said, I still love you, he said, I love you too. And he came back and he said, people don't like me. And I'm thinking, with the comments that he was saying, yeah, people don't like you, but he was a psychiatrist. And I'm like, so I learned this 10 years ago. When people say mean things, they're trying to get a reaction out of you. So I don't respond, because when you respond, they actually are, they're not winning. They're losing the battle. So they'll go somewhere else and try and take someone down. They are unhappy and talking to themselves, because somewhere along their life, nobody gave them the time of day. And so they get a reaction, an unhappy reaction, by pissing people off. Does that make sense? When people say mean things, they're trying to get a reaction because they're unhappy with their own life. And they don't know how to communicate, because they weren't taught to say nice things. Their parents were probably very angry and very mean, and maybe alcoholics, or just carried a lot of stress and didn't know how to be nice to their children. And a lot of people care about what I say, because they tell me, thank you. And so it's exciting to hear that I became friends with those people because I actually helped them. I triggered them when I shared kindness. They don't know how to communicate. You are correct. And I work with clients that think that it's about everybody else, and the client will tell me, those people are so mean to me, and they all left me. And I'm like, why would you want those people in your life if they weren't nice to you? I don't care if you have my number. I mean, I take clients, I work with clients one-on-one. So, and my picture is all over the place. So you're good. You're lovely, honey, and you are strong. Thank you. Remember, so I've been on here for an hour, so I got to get going and get ready for work. I've got clients to work with. So you can have the life you love. You've got to set your mind. And when you set the mindset, sometimes that doesn't work, because if you can't set your mindset, it's because there's a program running that you don't believe it. And it's changing beliefs. You know how hard it is to change beliefs that you can be a public speaker? And I was not able to speak. So if you've listened to my story, my voice was taken away as a child, and I didn't speak a whole lot. It wasn't until the last 10 years I wanted to become this person to show my son that you can do and say whatever you want and become the person you want. He's already outgoing and speaks his mind. I've learned him to speak, and he knows how to take action. I just learned that 10 years ago, because taking action, I would go into fear and my body would shut down. So if you understand shutting down, that's when anxiety and chronic fatigue, and now I'm getting distracted. Chronic fatigue, anxiety, depression comes in because you don't feel good enough about yourself. You have to change who you are to become the person you want to be. And the person you want to be is out there. Right? because you see people doing it all the time, but you have to go down deep inside and let go of all those beliefs that whoever took my voice away when I was 2 isn't going to do it anymore. That's why I'm here, public speaking and sharing my story, sharing. You can have whatever you want, but you have to change you. And when it becomes going down deep inside, getting out of the rabbit hole, it's work. And it's not easy. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've been self-employed my entire life. But when I wanted to be seen and heard, it was scary. Because a part of me is like, I'm embarrassed. I don't want people looking at me. Do you know that when people hide behind tattoos or hoodies, everyone's wearing black, they're hiding. They're trying to fit in. They are trying to hide and fit into the crowd, where I'm trying to step out of that crowd and get out. I used to dye my hair fluorescent red and wear bright color clothes so people can see me, but I didn't realize it's a part of me that had to change. And I no longer have chronic fatigue, depression, anxiety. I have the anxiety of when there's a discomfort coming up, that means my body's ready to let go. So my body shares when there's a pain, it's telling me, talking to me, saying, it's time to let go of this. Some people who seem like trolls can be people who don't take others seriously. It's okay. I don't mind them. I still love them. And when they feel my love, they'll be back because they're listening to what I'm saying. They can fight me all they want and troll me and badger me, but it doesn't bother me. Did it bother me 10 years ago? Yeah, I would shut down because I'm like, why don't they just want to love me? I don't care if they love me. That's what it's about. People are going, her husband passed away. My husband passed away. That was 2016. I'm okay with it because that was part of the God's plan, the universe. You just seem upset with people that don't agree with you. No, I'm not upset when they don't agree with me. Why, how are you seeing that I'm upset when they don't agree with me? How do you see that? I'm sharing a story about why people have anxiety and chronic fatigue, overwhelm. But I share my story of how I changed and transformed. I have pain in my scrotum, not a joke. Any advice on it? It's not what I work with. I work with fatigue, chronic fatigue, and anxiety, exhausted, overwhelmed. So I get really excited. I do talk a lot, and sometimes I talk too fast. But in order to change you've got to dig deep. Now I'm starting to start. You got to dig deep and let go of who you used to be to transform to who you want to be. The only way you can do that is to ask, what do I need to do to have the life I love? And I've been transforming because I was not here just a couple weeks ago talking. I was here 10 years ago talking. I had 1,000 people asking for help at the same time with the people that were trolling me saying, you're killing these people. But I got off because I had to heal what was going on. And if you didn't know, that was on Periscope, and then Periscope closed down. So I had to heal and transform, and here I am back again. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of speaking up. I'm not afraid of being seen. I was afraid of being seen then. And that's why my body shut down and said, no, you've got to heal this. So I love all you guys. I got to get ready for work. Where he did an Afghanistan war. I'm not sure what that means. You know I care about people. That's why I hear. Go to a hospital. Why do you go to a hospital? So they can pump you up with drugs? Go on with your story. I did go on with my story. Did I tell you what you wanted to hear? Will we ever find out what Stonehenge was for? I don't know what that means. Why you say that? You have just said that people who come in here that seem like trolls don't get... Wait a minute. You have just said that people who come in here that seem like trolls don't get the time of day from others. That is reactionary from you. Let me rephrase that so you get it. People that come in here like trolls can be bots. And what they're trying to do is get a reaction out of me when they say derogatory, mean things. What they're trying to do is get me to react like, oh my God, they're saying nice things to me. No, that's what they're trying to do. Because that's why a lot of people are committing suicide. They can't handle when people say mean things. They cannot get me to react. That's what I'm saying. And then some of them are bots to get you kicked off of here for being mean to people. What they're trying to do is get you to be mean, and then they kick you off of here. And then some of them are just unhappy, and they don't know how to be nice. Did you hear me say that? Repeat what I said. They're saying things because they're trying to get a reaction out of you. Did you hear that? Because I know some people are only picking up certain things. I am reading the comments, Junior Garza. I like that, Red. Doctors told me I was permanently injured, and I'm pretty sure they're wrong because stem cells are helping. Good. I'm glad you didn't give up, Nathan, because sometimes doctors are wrong. Doctors told me I'd have autoimmune disease and I'd be a diabetic by the time I was 30. I am not a diabetic, and I don't have autoimmune disease because of me changing my diet, changing my mindset. So a lot of that has a lot to do. Doctors don't share nutrition because they don't make money if they heal you. Instead of attacking others that are not in line with your harmony, you must challenge it and accept they are right, not attack them. I'm not attacking them. I'm sharing that they could be, I'm not allowed to respond to their comments in a derogatory way to tell them that they're right. They are not right calling me names and calling me a scam. I am not going to allow them to say that or respond to them. If I respond to them, then they're trying to get me to respond, and I'm taking my energy away from the people that need the help, and I should just ignore them. And that's what I'm going to do, okay? I don't care about me. I'm sorry you don't care about you. I'm talking about anxiety and being a single parent. That's what the topic was. Trolls are not right. My 15-year-old daughter will be on the next live stream. Dr. Junior Garza, thank you. My feelings cannot be hurt because I let go of all the judgment on myself. When feelings can be hurt, it means you're judging yourself. Remember, words hurt some people, but they're just words. And I've learned this 10 years ago. Would you get in the zombie complex? I'm not sure. After her live stream, I'm going to get her live stream banned. Okay, Dr. or Junior Garza. But you know what? YouTube people have already been on here and like what I have to see. Further than you. Hi there. Okay, I just smoked a lot of crack. Okay, good for you. If she is so gorgeous at this age, then imagine. Oh, thank you. Please be my mommy. You guys. All right, I'm done talking. All right, if you can try and get me banned, but YouTube already knows me. They've already commented and said great job. So I've gotten a lot of information from them. Anyways, I love you guys. Thank you for being here. And remember, they go on here and they look and they follow through to make sure people are doing the right things. They also have bots that go on here. So if I was saying anything wrong, I would have already been gone. But I'm being supportive for people. I'm helping people. People can be trolls. I'm okay with that. But it's not okay when you're distracting and interrupting people that really want the help. And the reason I'm making a comment about it is because these people want help. And you saying mean things isn't helping them, and it stresses them and it causes them anxiety because they don't know how to let go of the judgment. And that's all I'm going to say about that. They want to be banned, or the people that are listening want me to ban those people and block them. But there's a reason why you're here listening. There is a reason. Because I have something to say, and subconsciously you know it's true. All right, I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Oh, by the way, I'll be here tomorrow at 8 o'clock.